In math, students were working to add and subtract integers. Their mastery objective is that students will be able to model how to add and subtract integers. So let's take a look. We're starting off with our equation mat where we will use the negative counters and the positive counters to represent and model how to complete successfully the equations. Looking at our first equation, we can see that t equals -4 plus -3. Since my equation begins with the -4, I'm going to create or place 4 negative counters on my equation mat. Then the equation says that we are using the addition, so we are going to add 3 more negative counters onto our equation mat. With my original 4 negatives that began the equation, plus the addition of 3 new negative counters, I have a total of 7 negative counters. Therefore, for this equation, t equals -7. Let's go ahead and set up another additional practice problem. In this equation, we have +6 plus -4. So starting off with my positive counters, I'll take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now I'm going to add to the equation mat 4 negative counters. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now what happens here is we have what's called an additive inverse, where if you have a positive plus a negative, those two cancel each other out to create essentially 0. So with my 4 positives and 4 negatives, essentially those become 0 using the additive inverse property. And therefore my final answer is t equals +2. And let's clear that as we bring up the next example. And in this example here we have +4 minus a -5. So again I begin by placing a +4. Now the equation tells me I must remove, since that's a subtraction symbol, I must remove -5. However, I do not have -5 on my equation mat. So I do not have 5 negative counters on my equation mat. So what I must do is add 5 zero pairs or 5 additive inverses. So if I take a negative plus a positive, I'm really adding nothing to the mat because this represents 0. What I'm going to do is represent 0 5 times. Now, however, I can go ahead and remove 5 negatives from the mat. When I remove those 5 negatives, I'm left now with 4 positive counters plus the 5 positive counters for a grand total of 9. So therefore, t equals 9 for this equation. And in my last example, we have -6 minus -4. So we start off by placing -6. And now I'm going to subtract or remove 4 negatives from the equation mat. I have my 4 negatives and I'm going to remove them from the mat. And when I remove them, I have 2 negative counters remaining. So therefore, t equals -2 for this equation.